Alright, hello everyone. So today I just want to do a little quick garden tour and kind of go over the winners and losers of this year as far as crops go. So this year we've had a pretty, it started out wet and cold, and then it went to dry and hot. And then also mixed there in the middle, we also had a tropical storm, a whole lot of winds. We had a giant tree fall down across the street from us. So it's been an interesting year. I think the main defining factor, though, was the lack of water for just a month straight of no water, and then there's at least maybe 2.5 of very little water. So the first thing I want to show you is asparagus I have behind me. This is just a random note. I just put in some strawberries with it today with the asparagus. I really hope they're going to be really good friends. The asparagus, comes up early and we cut it and eat it just when the strawberries need a lot of sun and that kind of stuff, and they're getting going. And then later in the year, the asparagus grows up when the strawberries are kind of not doing as much. And it doesn't really block a lot of sun anyways. It's pretty feathery and light. So I think they're going to be good friends. All right. So without further ado, let me keep going through here. One of the big winners I'm putting this year are actually our grapevines, which have been struggling for a while. Part of the reason they're doing well this year is that we have pruned them more heavily over the winter, which they really need. But we haven't watered them at all this year, and they are doing fantastic. So here are some of our Cayuga wine grapes. And there's just bunches of them all up in there. So I don't know how much weight we'll get yet, but it'll be one of our biggest years in a while. One of our bigger losers of the year are sadly our tomatoes. They're still doing well. We've gotten like 100 pounds, but we planted like 50 vines, and I'd say we lost like half of them. And we're hoping to get 500 pounds. There's no way that's going to happen. I think we'd be excited to get half of that.
300.
Yeah, 300. So
we had problems with late blight, and I think partially they're so susceptible because of the trouble with the drought and lack of watering. But I covered them pretty early with hay to mulch to conserve moisture, and it's still we had more problems with late blight than we've ever had. And we've been saving the seed for something like 7 years now. So
yeah,
it's an issue.
A disappointing year for the tomatoes. Still 100 pounds is 100 pounds. All right. Yeah, we'll have plenty more than that. Let's see. Squash and zucchini are kind of behind. We have been watering them somewhat regularly, not enough. But they just haven't produced like they usually do. So they're hanging in there, but they're not really thriving or anything like that. All right, here we have some of our peppers. They've done fantastic this year, so I definitely count them as a winner. A bunch of greens in here, which have done great as well. Some kale, some dinosaur kale. Basil, interestingly, has done great this year. Although it is kind of water loving, they've had the lucky spot of being in our raised beds with the carrots. And wherever they're near carrots, where we give them a lot of water, they've taken off. And we've gotten tons of basil. Here's some more carrots. We water these a lot, so it's hard to say whether, it's the drought or us watering them, but the carrots are doing well. Let's see, potatoes have been sort of mixed. We got like 40 pounds. We planted a ton of them though, so I think they're mixed. Here we have oh man, it's getting dark. Here we have our elderberries. I'm gonna call them a winner. We didn't water them at all. They did fantastic. We got like 15 pounds. It's the most we ever gotten. I imagined that they could capable of producing a lot more than that, but they did great. Here's our corn. This is the best it's ever been. Really tall, doing great, and we haven't really watered it at all. So I'm going to call that one a big winner too, and I'm surprised because I would have expected corn to need a lot more. Also behind me here is pawpaw. these plants need a lot of shade to begin with in the year, and once they get to like their 3rd or 4th year, they do a lot better and they don't need it. And this thing has been taking off. We don't water it, and it is just doing amazing right now. So apparently it's fine without a lot of water during the summer. Milkweed has done great. The mulberry, this is our mulberry tree, produced great this year. I actually got mulberries. Usually the birds take them all, but it produced enough. Oh, another great winner is the walking onions. It's so hard to see. I'm sorry guys if this is dark. We realized cutting off the tops of them helped them grow bigger, and I've definitely been harvesting a lot bigger onions because of that lately. But we didn't water them at all, and they are just doing fantastic. They're expanding rapidly. Pears have been doing well this year. They don't seem to mind the lack of water. Apples did pretty well as well. We didn't water them either. Hazelnuts, they have done great. The wind blew off a bunch, but it still has a ton on here, so I don't think it'll even matter. I think it's totally fine. Some winter squash over here. That's done okay, but we've had to water it a lot, and it's so-so. I wouldn't say it's thriving. Oh, one of the big losers this year, unfortunately, which has been one of my biggest winners in past years, is our raspberries. They have just, they're alive. The plants are doing fine, but they're not producing very much, and they look a lot sparser, and usually they do great. But this year, not really. So apparently they like themselves some water. It's hard to tell with the sweet potatoes at this point, but they've lately been taking off. So I think we'll be okay on the sweet potatoes. It's also started to rain more, so. Okay, I think that's about all I have. Some of our trees are doing fine. We have some chestnuts, peach, plum. A number of the trees are doing fine. I don't know that I'd say they're excelling. I don't know that I'd say that they're dying. So, yeah, I'd say the big winners would be, the grapes, elderberries, the corn, hazelnuts. A lot of the perennials especially have done very well with the lack of water. And I say the annuals have suffered. You really got to keep up with watering them if you want them to produce big. And when we have this much big of a garden, it's kind of hard to keep up with all that. So I hope you enjoyed the dark garden tour and got something from that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. All right, thanks. Have a nice night.